Okay, it's a few minutes past 3 o'clock, and we're due to start at three. So I think we'll get started, and then if more people join us once we started, we can let them in as we go. So once again, good afternoon, and thank you for coming along to this. This is the latest in our monthly webinars that we're doing at HIT Technology. Each month we partner with a different solution provider or with SYSPRO themselves to showcase different solutions and products and modules. And in this particular webinar, we're partnering with Anota, who will be showcasing their Vertosuite product, which is based on the DocuWare document management system. And I will probably take a bit of a back seat through most of this, and my colleague Anthony, who's the managing director of Anota, will take most of the will put in most of the effort, shall we say. So you'll be hearing more from him than you will from me. But yeah, just to do some quick intros. As I mentioned, Anthony Dixon is the managing director of Anota. And for those that you don't know me, I'm Andrew Longland. I'm the managing director of HIT Technology, and we're a SYSPRO Premium Solutions Partner in the UK. Before we get into the main content of the webinar, just a few words about HIT Technology and who we are and what we do. As I mentioned, we are a SYSPRO partner. We only partner with one ERP solution, and that is SYSPRO. That's the core of our business. It's our bread and butter. It's what we've been doing for the entire duration that this business has been operating, which is now 16 years. And we have a huge amount of experience across the team of 17, all in SYSPRO and related products and solutions that fit around that. And yeah, we have one aim really, and that is to help our customers to get best value out of their investment in SYSPRO as an ERP solution, and to find better ways of working and the efficiencies that can be gained from having a solution like SYSPRO, and then the other solutions that fit around it, such as Vertosuite that you're going to hear about today. That's probably it for me. So I will shortly hand over to Anthony. But one other thing to say is, although this demonstration is very much about automating accounts payable and how that fits into the SYSPRO world, I have asked Anthony to talk about DocuWare as a whole and what that can offer, because what we tend to find, and I'm sure Anthony and his colleagues would agree, is that accounts payable is sort of a starting point for many customers, because there's an immediate return on investment from that sort of thing. But then when customers start seeing what DocuWare can deliver, and the different ways it can be used, they then start looking at those different things and trying to get even more value from it. So I think it's useful for the audience today just to get a little bit of an understanding of what DocuWare can do for you. So Anthony will cover off a few things that are, let's say, non-accounts payable, that might be useful to you. So that's it from me. I will come back towards the end, and what Anthony and I have agreed is that we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions whilst Anthony's presenting, if you can just make a note of them, and then when we get towards the end, there'll be plenty of time for you to ask those questions at that point. But I think it's useful just to let Anthony get through his presentation and demonstration of Vertosuite, and then we can move on to questions at the end, if that's all right with everybody. Over to you, Anthony.
Thank you very much. You can disappear for half an hour now. Right, cool. So yeah, as Andrew introduced me, so I'm Anthony Dixon. I'm MD of Anota. We were founded in 2011, so we've been around for quite a while now. We've been working very closely with Andrew's team for 2-3 years now, since inception really. So time flies, Andrew. You probably put me straight on the timeline on that. But so we're based in Hull, and purely UK. So we have no presence outside the UK, but we do have clients in America, Netherlands, Germany, dotted around Europe as well. So we're not restricted by any boundaries, and our technology works across all the countries as well. So we support all the implementations that we do ourselves, but we also have the backup. We have the backup of DocuWare as well. So they are based over in Germany, but have sites all around the world as well. I'll come back to DocuWare a little bit. Vertosuite is a product that I'll cover off what it actually does, but that's a data validation tool that we built up ourselves. We saw an opportunity 7, 8 years ago for connecting DocuWare and data up to ERPs. So that's really where we started. SYSPRO was the place that we started with that, and we've kind of scaled out from there. But we'll stay on with SYSPRO at the moment. And yeah, as I said, we have a wide range of ERPs. I think one thing we're most proud of is we've really got a name for ourselves as being the integration partner. Not in the UK solely, outside of the UK. So we have a lot of DocuWare partners globally who come to us to talk to us about connecting up to ERP systems. And on the right-hand side, just a sample of some of our clients. I would say the majority of those are SYSPRO. But there's a couple of household names you'll know in there. So Mindful Chef, Eddie Stobart, and Brayley's. We do specialize in manufacturing. That's a very big sweet spot for DocuWare as well as ourselves. But as you'll see there, we've got Northern Trains, Eddie Stobart, Brayley's. It doesn't matter what your business type is. My experience really says that it doesn't matter what business type you're in, you probably experience similar challenges. One of those being how you process your invoices. That's fairly standard implementation for us now. And as Andrew's asked me to do, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how some of our customers use DocuWare for things that are outside of accounts payable. So DocuWare, we like Andrew, we only work with one vendor, so we don't work with multiple document management systems. We just work solely with DocuWare and have done for nearly 14 years now. DocuWare itself was founded in '88. It's all they do as well. So all they do is document management. They've been through many changes of moving the product from what was traditionally an on-premise product and shifting that up into the cloud. They still have on-premise. So if you have a preference for on-premise, we can still cope for that. If you work in maybe a nuclear sector or something like that where you cannot communicate with the outside world, we can cover that off for you as well. It's an interesting space, and I think that traditional method of everybody moving to the cloud is being questioned a little bit now. Probably more so in the ERP world than the document management world. But what I'm saying is we have options for both sides of the fence there. And in 2019, DocuWare was purchased by the Ricoh Group, and what did that mean to them? Well, it put a lot more money into the R&D pocket for DocuWare, and we have really seen the product accelerate very quickly over the last 4 or 5 years, to the extent that they're now up at 103 million annual revenue. They have offices in America, Germany, UK, France, and Spain, and over 19,000 customers now. And I've just put a couple of highlights. Some of the bigger corporate customers that you will know the names of, who they look after globally. So one of the big new wins for them has been VW Group, which that's Seat, Lamborghini, all those different brands are looked after by DocuWare now for all their documentation. The solution itself, if it's cloud, it's Azure hosted. So in terms of compliance and it being secure, all that's taken care of. It's a browser interface product, so very, very new and fresh. So it doesn't matter what device you are using. DocuWare also has its own mobile app as well. So if you have a preference for doing things via app technology rather than browser technology, that's all taken care of as well. And some of the modules, so the cloud, all the modules are available to everybody. It doesn't distinguish in the on-premise. You get to pick which modules are relative to what your application is. So as you'd expect, there's workflow, there's e-forms in there. We connect up to the whole Microsoft suite, both from full integration into 365, full integration into Teams, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint. All of those applications are fully integrated into DocuWare. And with the cloud, all of your upgrades and system maintenance is all taken care of without you having to do a single thing. And that we have found is one beneficial area for cloud customers, is that they don't have to apply any resource to it. It's just a system that sits there, it runs. We support the actual implementation and do the implementation, but ultimately it's DocuWare who are taking care of all your upgrades. So it's a very support and maintenance side of things. It's very hands-off for the actual business themselves. So today, yes, Andrew's, primarily we're talking about accounts payable. It really is the area where, if you're looking to invest in document management, it's a very good place to start because of the return on investment. And if you want to have a chat separately or at the end of this call about potential returns on investment and what that looks like based on our client list and what they've found, I'm more than happy to do that at the end. But I won't bore everybody rigid with it at this point. But just kind of setting the scene on what you're going to see today. So what we're definitely seeing is that invoices do not arrive in the post anymore. They are all coming via email. The system will work if you do get ad hoc random invoices. We can scan those in and it just follows a similar process. But what we're seeing is almost 100% of invoices are coming into an email box now, generally accounts at or something similar to that. So DocuWare monitors that email box, it brings the invoice in, goes through DocuWare's OCR engine, and then Verto picks up that data set and starts to validate against that data set against what the data contained in SYSPRO. If all of those checks go through, and I'll talk to you about what those checks are, it will post into SYSPRO without anything having to happen at the back end. We do find, and I'll show it in the demonstration, that there's a nervousness to move from a traditional paper-based or manual process to full automation at the flick, from one day to the next. So we allow a gatekeeper approach in ours so that the accounts team still feel that they're actually in charge of that process. So I'll show you what that looks like, but I would say roll forward 4 to 6 weeks and our customers are coming back to us and saying, right, I'm ready for full automation now. So turn that additional layer off. Obviously, if there are any errors, those are reported back into DocuWare for you to investigate, approve, decline, or put on hold while you do some investigations as to what is the discrepancy within that. I'm running multiple screens at this point. So let me just pop that down the bottom. So just to give you an overview of some of the applications that I'm running during this demonstration. So we've got DocuWare top left, which I'll come back to, and I've got that open in 2 different browsers. So you'll see this is the accounts team that are in essence processing. And then down here we've got an approver, so it kind of gives it away in the title. So this is an approver in the business who will receive a notification to say there's an invoice that needs to be approved, and that will come to them in a variety of different formats, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then top right, we've got SYSPRO. So let me just launch this up. So we work with 6, 7, 8 and everything beyond, because we're communicating and doing our integration at an API level. It doesn't matter to us as long as SYSPRO in their wisdom are not going to redo their whole API, which would be enormous. Then this will work with future facing as well. So yeah, absolutely no challenges there. And we have We have some customers who've been through that, so they've been through 6, 7, and 8. Yes, there's a little bit of light touch that we need to just check and balance it's all working, but in terms of rebuilding the whole system, no, not at all. So, and the two, I'm guessing everyone's familiar with this. So this is a SYSPRO screen. And at top, I'm going to primarily be working with 2 suppliers during this demonstration. So the first one is customer name Vertosuite demo, and supplier code is 1150, and the next one is 1151, and that customer name is Anota demo. So I'll come back to that further down the chain. So let's move into DocuWare. So this is what DocuWare looks like. As you see, it's web browser, and documents. I started chatting earlier about emails for it with invoices attached. So this is the first time that you will see these. So these have automatically been brought in. We've extracted the PDF, and that can be multiple PDFs. It can be multi-page PDFs. We have no restraint. There's no problems with, you know, how many invoices we can bring in, how many PDFs we can bring in. We just monitor the attachments and bring them through. If you have random suppliers who will send you Excel files, are we back?
You're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
We did lose you for a second there, Anthony.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, we can work with multiple files. I've turned my camera off just in case there's a bandwidth problem. So yeah, to kind of look at the documents, I've just double clicked that and then they appear on the right hand side. As we go across the top here, you've got document trays, and you can have shared document trays. So let's say you have 2 or 3 processes in your accounts team. They can share a document tray and pick workload up from this tray. Or you can have individual trays. I've got different trays that I've got access to here for different document types. And then the next one along is search, which I'll come back to. And again, everything that you see is built up in reference to an individual business. Then we've got lists. So this is a list to actually show you what's going on in the process. So as you see, the lists I've got here are awaiting checks, pending approval. So if you have 50 invoices that come in on a Monday and they've all gone out for approval, you would see who these sit with. And I'll dive back in and show you what that looks like during the demonstration. Any tasks you receive would appear here. So if you have a task for approval, in the AP world, it would appear here, and you will also receive an email notification with a link to that document as well. So there's multiple ways that you can access that approval, and you would also be sent it on your mobile device as well. And forms, I'll come back to later. So DocuWare has a full forms module, eForms module that runs through it. So back to our in tray. And in terms of getting all the documents in, we can monitor folders, we can monitor emails, you can drag and drop documents in here. It doesn't matter, and you've got import and scan. So we can pick up for these images up from anywhere that you tell us that you want to. So these can be bulk handled for demonstration purposes. I'm just going to do these individually, and I'm just going to store the first one away. So what you can see is that the information contained on this document has already been what we refer to as OCR'd across. So you can see as I start to click through these areas, it's showing you exactly where the data has been pulled from. Now, if as you store this, you note that it's pulled the wrong area, it's pulled the date instead of a PO number, you can alter that yourself simply by dragging your mouse over the text. But as this was all lit up green, it has a 98% certainty that what it's pulled, using all its AI algorithms and all that kind of stuff, that it's pulled the correct set of data. And then as you move down into the line item data, you can see exactly where all that has been pulled from. So we've pulled quantity, stock code, description, price, and amount. We've also pulled, if you have VAT at a line, it will pull that through. In this one, it's just summarized it at the bottom here, because you might have a variance of VAT at a line level, different VAT codes. You also may well have a supplier who sends you multiple purchase orders at a line level. So we can insert those here as long as they've identified up the line which purchase order that belongs to. And also, if you want to put a particular nominal code or the line on relative to the purchase order, so we can enter various bits of data to actually help the process at this point as well. So for this one, I'm simply going to store it away, and then we'll move back through. So that now disappears out of here, and then we'll process the second one at this point. So double click that document. Similar. We find that most invoices follow a similar path. So you've got header and footer data, and then your line item data that sits in the middle. So DocuWare will have a best guess. If it sees a document that it's never seen before, it will probably pick up 70% of the information without you doing anything, and then ask you to detail exactly, it might have the quantity and the unit price in the wrong order, or something like that. So if I hit store, and I'll show you how that intelligent indexing works on this one. I know it's actually picked the information up, but I'm going to delete it and show you how you actually, if a new vendor comes to you with a new invoice, assuming they're a bona fide supplier, we can show you how that data gets trained. So if I just click to the top there and delete that data out, and then I'm going to add the first line in. So it's going to ask me for the stock code. So stock code is just there. So you can see that I've dragged my mouse across and it's lit up green to say that's fine. Stock description, go to that line there. Quantity is here. Price per unit and the amount. And then we've got a clever little button that will actually autofill all the other lines. So if you've got an invoice with 10 lines on it, you don't want to follow that process of having to train each line. So we just autofill that, and it's copied all the information across. And you'll see that at the bottoms we also have totals as well. So it's telling us that we've got 4 items, which is your 1 plus your 3, etc., etc. So the next time that invoice comes in, it will probably get about 90% of it correct. It will ask you, so it will light up in its traffic lights. It will say, it'll go amber, and it'll say, I think I've got this correct, just validate and check for me. And then the third time that you store an invoice from the same supplier, it will all be lit up green. So you get a visual as to what that looks like. Now, I'm not gathering bank details or any other further details, but if you have bank details and VAT numbers and all that kind of stuff, they just become another field in the system, and then our validation will check against SYSPRO what that should be. So just keeping it simple at this point. So we'll store that one away. And if I go into my tasks, you can then see that we've got that first one. So the first one actually has gone through all its validations, and it's found that it actually matches the purchase order perfectly, and you'll see that it's got a line on it ready for posting. And this is the manual step that we've put in. So you could remove that ready for posting, so nobody has to do anything with it. But if we then go into lists, you'll see the second one is now going through awaiting checks. And if I just refresh that, you'll see the next action will be it will will backfill the supplier code, which was not contained on the invoice. So it's communicating back into, there's got to be the wonderful bit that I love in demonstrations where you wait for everything to happen behind the scenes, but there you go. Tell you what, I'll come back to that. So first document has gone through all its checks. Actually, it's gone through now. Here we go. So it's backfilled the supplier code. And then it will go through further checks and it will say, I need to go out for an approval. Well, kick over. As you'd be processing lots of these at the same time, you're not going to be feeling this gap that I am. So there we go. Right. So that's now kicked through for pending approval. So system's caught up now. So in essence, you've got 2 documents that have gone through. One is actually ready for posting. And then the second one has actually gone out to the approver pending approval. So if I just shrink this down now. And then we'll go into the other browser. So you'll see exactly the same look and feel. And you can tailor make what the system looks like. So you can see that they've still got access to document trays, they've got access to searching, and they have a task in DocuWare. If you double click on that task, you get access to see what's actually happened. And down at the bottom here is actually giving you a reason as to why that has come out for an approval. Now I know that because we've adjusted this for obvious reasons, but it should be 4570 instead of 4580. So it's going to throw an error. Now you get the ability to set those tolerances at what you want them to be. So I know 10p might be a bit of a rubbish example, but some companies will want to approve absolutely everything. You'll get others who will go, okay, right, well, we're going to start with approving everything, but actually, okay, well, you know, what's the point of this going through a process for 5p? So we can actually check, you know, we can adjust those tolerances for you. And, you know, if you're happy for 10p at a line level to go through, or you can put a percentage. Now, a percentage is dangerous because it could be 1% of £1,000,000. So you can have an and/or situation there. So you can say, well, I'll accept 1%, but as long as it's no bigger than 10p, as in this example. We've also got a quite clever tool here. So a lot of our customers will put the delivery note through as well. And maybe it might be some email communication to say, yes, this was buy one, get one free, that, you know, is part of this purchasing process. So we can have what we refer to as link or related documents. So if I click this button here, it's actually going to bring back a hit on a delivery note. So this is a delivery note. So you can actually see that the goods have arrived. Yes, they'll have gone through your GRM process. Presumably there'll be a purchase order. So we could assemble all those documents for you to make a decision. Because ultimately, an approver wants to have all the information to hand so they can make a best decision. They don't want to be picking up the phone and, you know, have we had these? Are they okay? Have they been through inspect? All these things. So we can bring those documents to the decision point so that an approver can very simply go, okay, well, I'm happy with that. So back to the fault list. So we can approve or decline that, or we can put it on a hold. So maybe you want to investigate further, so you would put it on hold. And what that means is that the accounts team get an understanding of what status that invoice is on. It could be that you select, because we have some of our customers who have credit notes. So, you know, they're going to decline it and request a credit note for the product, so that we can tailor make what the decision points are at this point. We also have the ability, using a matrix sat behind this, that we can force regular invoices to people within the business. So an example of that might be utility, electricity or gas. They need to go straight to finance director because of the value. We can actually automate by supplier where the invoices go, and we can also automate where they go based on value as well. So something that's £10,000 might go through a manager's hands, but would ultimately need to still be approved by the FD. So when the manager has approved it, it would automatically go to FD before passing back to accounts to say it's okay to pay that. In this case, I'm just going to approve. If we were to decline, we would have to actually put the reason for declining that, because that would be absolutely no good to the accounts team. So we can mandate certain fields in here as well. So if I just go confirm, that will now leave the system, and that's the approver's role finished for that one. So yeah, and then we step back into the accounts team, and you can now see that they have two tasks. So this is the visibility that the accounts team will get. So you can see very clearly the status of what's actually happened. So the first one, ready for posting, so that was what we saw go straight through, and then the second one has been approved. And when I say been approved, you can see that we start to layer stamps on that document with who did it, when they did it, and what the outcome of that was. And if you, I'll come back to that bit, I'll do it in the shirt. So what we're being presented here as the accounts gatekeeper is, what do you want to do? So at this point, we're going to post that into SYSPRO. And the second one, exactly the same. You can see now I come back into that tab, and they can actually see as an accounts team what's happening with that. That also gives them an indication that if something doesn't leave this folder once the process is run, it gives them an indication to say, well, there's a problem with this data, it didn't actually get posted. So it becomes very handy after, if there are any, you know, errors, maybe there's a problem with the network or something like that, they will very clearly see here. Because when it posts to SYSPRO, SYSPRO will say, yeah, I've got that, thanks very much. And then the status here will change to posted. So let's just go through a bit of searching. So whilst we're waiting for that to, so we can put a variety of different things in here, so you can search, but we've got drop downs for all the document types that we're running through here. You can start typing, and it will basically shortcut to where you want to go. You can search by entity, so if you run multiple entities, we can cope with that as well. Search by suppliers, all of these become fields that you can search on. So you could say, I don't know, show me all the invoices that we've processed for ABC Limited in the last quarter or last 12 months or this week, and these will all be listed for you. In this case, I'm just going to do, as it's a demo system, and it's actually only got about 50 documents running through it, I'm just going to do a full search. And you'll see the document that we've been running through today. Yeah, date and time stamp here. So you can see 1534, that was approved, and at 1535, that was posted. And if we right click on that document, we can then get access to the full history. So when it gets to audit time, auditors generally ask those killer questions that in the manual paper world would be very difficult for you to respond to. Or it might be, go and get the whole history of this transaction. Now here you can very clearly see what actually happened. So if I pull up there, you can actually see what happened during the workflow, so what steps happened through that, and all of these are separate calls that we've made all the way through the process. So these are all the workflow calls as to how that document ended up being posted into SYSPRO. But then you've also got a document history as well. So if somebody's opened it, emailed it, viewed it, read it, whatever it is, you will very clearly see exactly what has happened with that document. So that's searching. We've also got, which I think is pretty killer, to be honest with you, this is a full text search. So full text search allows you to search the content of the document. So I've just put a postcode in there just because I know that postcode is contained on all of these documents, all of these sample documents we've been working through. And when you click on it, it'll then highlight on that document exactly where that text is. So this could be a part number. It could be something that is absolutely nothing to do with any of the indexes. And when I say indexes, the information that we've aligned to these areas here could be nothing to do with that. I've got another demonstration I do in our live system. I won't do it now for GDPR reasons, but it's Coca-Cola, and it shows me all the hits for Coca-Cola on the receipts that we've taken photographs on mobile phones to scan into the system. So DocuWare, that's another use case for DocuWare. You can use it for processing expenses, mileage claims, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that really, if you really need to get to that needle in the haystack, it is so helpful, that full text search. So let's shrink that down, and now let's log into SYSPRO. So if you remember, the two vendors that I was working with was 1151 and 1150. So if I just do a refresh on that now, you can see that that invoice is now being brought through. And if I now run a query on that invoice, and then I do a right click, we can then get to see the GL distribution. Now, this is not my area of specialty, to be fair, but these are the things you can see that that's been separated out into the two different areas, and the PPV has been allocated straight to that. And then if we go to the 51, you can see that the second invoice has appeared down there. So those are the two invoices that we've been working with during this demonstration. I can't show you any more in SYSPRO. That literally is not my bag. Andrew's smiling, so he doesn't want to get involved either.
I'm sure I could show you plenty, but no, I think that's probably enough for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is that not shrinking down? For some reason, that's not shrinking down. Anyway, finish with that. So yeah, back to our presentation. Can you see that now, Andrew? Now I've swapped it back. Yeah, yes, multiple screens. It's really annoying, but there you go. So these are just some of the Vertosuite checks that are listed out, and I know that everybody will get a copy of this presentation at the end. Is that correct, Andrew, or it's going to go out on YouTube?
So yeah, this is recorded. We'll go on our YouTube channel within a couple of days. So yeah, everybody will be able to recap on it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just conscious of time. I think I've been waffling on for ages. But I just wanted to kind of give you some indication. So we've worked with Benson's for Beds for nearly 2 years now. They're processing a big volume, so 36,000 invoices a month through DocuWare and Vertosuite. And on the right hand side, just some feedback that they have given us, and we're now working on the next entity for them. So they're running intelligent indexing, Vertosuite, SYSPRO integration, and the PPV module as well. Second one is Molenbeek. Now they're only processing 500 invoices a month. And we went a little bit deeper with them as to, okay, so what were the time savings? What did that mean for them? And again, we can come back to that ROI thing at the end, but we looked at CO2 savings. So if that's close to your heart, this is a byproduct of using systems like this, that you're removing paper out of your business and workflow in it. And Brailleys. Now, Brailleys is not SYSPRO at all, but they use it for, so the car dealership, they use it for processing all their deal packs. And we, quite interestingly, they used to go via multiple Excel spreadsheets from all the, from like Jaguar Land Rover as an example, or Nissan, and they had to interrogate that data and then do something with it. So we have used DocuWare to actually extract all the data from their Excel spreadsheets and build up public forms for them to use as well. And we've literally brought all that data together and saved them. I think we saved them 2 days a week for one person with that task of assembling all that data together. That's what a project life cycle looks like. So we're very distinct on what our projects look like. And I'm just going to break out very quickly. Have I got about 5 minutes to cover this off, Andrew? Will that do?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Yeah. What we refer to, and what Andrew's asked me to put together, is really an overview of smart document control. So let me just exit out of there. And log back into DocuWare. So back into DocuWare, and one of the uses that we have with DocuWare forms is it's just some sample forms that we've built up. And as I double click into them, you'll see what they look like. They launch up. So this is a purchase request form. I know the majority of your purchasing will be done in SYSPRO. You may do your non-stock through SYSPRO as well, but if you're not, DocuWare can be used as a workflow tool for your non-stock purchase ordering. And these forms can be simply built up as to how you want them to be. We can pull data from suppliers, so you're only pulling for bona fide suppliers or suppliers that have been approved. You can even drag information into there, so it could be, I want to buy this, and here's the email to say it was buy one get one free. So you can attach information into that form and apply some notes. This would then kick off a predefined workflow based on probably similar routines and sign-off values that you would have for processing your invoices, or it can be a completely separate matrix for this as well. So we can do that. We are having some conversations with around in stock orders. So can we extract data from orders and push that into SYSPRO? Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's doable. So there's a variety of different things we can do at this point. We've got holiday forms, health and safety forms. This is an interesting one. So a lot of our existing customers are having challenges around SKU. So the SKU module is learning through the intelligent indexing, but they need it to be non-learning and live from day one. So if you have a supplier who has a SYSPRO stock reference of ABC123, but the supplier is XYZ456, you can submit this form, which is a public form, so they don't even need to be a DocuWare user for this to work. They can submit this form in, and it will update the SKU table behind the scenes, so that the next time that invoice comes in, it will automatically recognize it. Now, Andrew tells me that there's some SKU details within SYSPRO. So there's different ways that we can work through that. So that's the SKU module, and then we've got a simple supplier onboarding form. Again, structure and layout may change depending on what your business looks like. You might have certain legal documentation that you need inputting into this form, and so this can be sent out to your suppliers. And it may be that if they don't attach certain information in here that you require, that they won't be allowed to submit the form at all. So yeah, these can be ready, published on your intranet, or you can send a link out to it, and your suppliers can fill this in themselves with all the information required. And it will obviously become a data set, and then we can push that data out to SYSPRO as well. So yeah, there's just some interesting elements within DocuWare. I can go on and on and on. It's if you are looking at a AP automation, but you're also considering content management and document management, then DocuWare is most definitely worthwhile looking at. I think I've probably exhausted myself. I'll just click back and finish off my presentation. Run it again. So yeah, some of the use cases that our clients are using, so validation, capturing, collaboration. So we've got a full collaboration tool within Teams. So if you have documents that you want to collaborate on, you can collaborate in Teams and then save them from Teams straight into DocuWare. So it's fully looked after, fully tracked, and is compliant at the same time. Storing, approving, exporting, and tracking, and it is a secure repository. So its encryption is as you'd expect in an Azure environment. That's me.
Excellent. Thanks, Anthony. I think everybody can clearly hear the passion you have for the product and what it can do for customers. As you said, you could probably go on for ages talking about it, which also speaks volumes for the amount of different ways that it can be used as well. So at this point, I'm happy to open the floor for questions, as we've got only a small number on this particular session. If people wanted to take themselves off mute and ask those questions verbally, that's absolutely fine. Or if you prefer to stick something in the chat, equally that's good too. So if anybody has any questions, please fire away. Whilst people are thinking about their specific questions that might be useful to them in their own scenarios, Anthony, just one quick one from me. I'm not sure, unless I happen to miss it. Multi-currency. A lot of our customers trade in multiple currencies, both on AR and AP. Whether that be euros, dollars, whatever it might be. The solution covers that, does it?
It does. So it doesn't matter to us what currency. So we have clients in America. I have to say America was challenging because of all the tax regions, but multi-currency is very common. So we generally look back to most SYSPRO customers seem to update the currency tables monthly. We've had a couple that have got a live feed. So, but anyway, we're hooking up to those currency tables within SYSPRO, and that's what we apply all the way through. We generally will not go for 100% pure accuracy in that regard, because we start to get some rounding issues. So we generally end up with a penny or 2 pence tolerances. So because of the calculations, it's not constantly coming back for an approval. Is what we find in that space. So a penny usually covers it off with a fluctuation. So yeah, but that's absolutely
okay. Fantastic. Okay. Any questions from our attendees, or has Anthony told you absolutely everything you're likely to ever want to know?
Maybe I've confused them to death, Andrew. I don't know.
I was being kinder and thinking that you've covered it so well.
Happy days.
Okay. I think the lack of questions there obviously does tell us that everybody's got everything they needed to know. Anthony, would you mind just flicking to the slide that's got the QR codes on? So obviously, if anybody does have any further questions or wants to talk in more detail about Vertosuite or DocuWare in particular, please do feel free to reach out to us, either myself or any of my team at HIT Technology, or indeed any of the team at Anota. I'm sure Anthony and his team will be delighted to talk to you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of QR codes on screen. That's just us trying to be a little bit clever. You can scan those with your phone, and it will hopefully, if it works properly, hopefully will take you to, I think it takes to the LinkedIn pages for Anota and for HIT Technology, and to mine personally. If you wanted to reach out to me, that's not an issue at all. So unless there are any questions at the end here, I think we will probably wrap it up. And we've even though Anthony will talk for England, we've managed to finish a few minutes early, which is
5 minutes
fantastic.
early.
Well done. It's
That's
amazing.
never. I did kind of crash through at the end. So
No, that's fine.
particularly on the smart document control, if somebody wants a follow-up session or you want to do a bit more on that, I'm happy to do that. I did kind of crash through it at the end.
That's fine.
Cool.
Okay, brilliant. So thank you to everybody for attending. Massive thank you to Anthony for taking the lead with this and sharing all that content and doing the demonstration. Been very, very useful. As we mentioned earlier, this session has been recorded, and that recording will go onto our YouTube channel, so that if you have any colleagues that couldn't make it to the session that want to watch it, or if you perhaps missed something that Anthony said earlier, you can rewatch it. So that will go up onto our YouTube channel probably within the next couple of days. So you'll be able to see that there. If you've got any issues with finding it, just get in contact and I can send you a link. It's not an issue at all. So let's draw this to a close, and I shall say thank you and have a good rest of your day.